Hello everybody, today I am using the Mama Elephant Willie Winter, the Lawn Fawn Merry Christmas. I'm using a star from that set, and then the Merry Messages or the holiday sentiments from Lawn Fawn this year, as well as some distress paper and tumbled glass, chipped sapphire, and black soot distressing. So I'm going to turn on some music while I color the image. I'm just coloring one because I colored them all the same. All the colors you'll be able to see on the top right of the screen, and I'll be back to put the card together after the coloring is complete. So to get the card started today, I'm going to be cutting a 1/4 inch from the top and the side of the distress paper before I start distressing the background. I'm going to be doing some heat embossing for the sentiment, as well as some stars on the background for some resist technique with the distress ink. So I'm just going to use my powder tool to make sure that nothing sticks to the spots that I don't want it to stick to, and then I am going to first put the greeting on, and so I'm going to ink that up with some Versamark, and I'm going to stamp that twice just to make sure that I get it nice and full of ink so that it has a very clean image once I go to heat emboss it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the stars. Now I am making a moon for this card, so I wanted to make sure I got the placement of the moon down first. So I'm just using some full post-it note paper, and then as you can see I'm stamping on the stars, and then I'm going to be heat embossing them in Simon Says Stamp white detailed embossing ink before I start distressing here in a couple seconds. So I'm just going to do some really quick heat embossing. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but enough so you get an idea of the steps in case you're new to crafting. So I hope you guys are enjoying the holiday season so far and all the wonderful cards that have been on YouTube this year. I know I've really enjoyed watching a bunch of the holiday card series this year. So with the magic of the heat tool now, I've got everything on there that I want. So I'm going to start with the tumbled glass. I want the lightest around the moon to give it like a glowing kind of halo effect, and you can see some of the stars popping up now. Then I'm going to go in with the chipped sapphire, which is quite a bit darker, but by the time I get it blended in, it's actually it actually turns out really nice. And then I'm going to come in after I get that done with the darkest color, the black soot, around the very edges and then on that left hand side of the card. And I always find it easier to have where I'm distressing on the right hand side, probably because I'm right handed. So this did take quite a bit of time. I still find blending distress inks takes a fair bit of time, but I love the effect that it gives. And I'm just trying to keep my hands out of the ink, but by the end of this card I was full of mostly blue ink. So I'm going to come back in now with the Chipped Sapphire and just get that nice and blended, bringing in some of that blue color, the darker blue onto the black. The Chipped Sapphire almost has like a little bit of a purplish tinge to it. And then I'm going back now again with the Tumbled Glass, and you can see how the light effect is working well. So I'm just using a little wet cloth here just to make sure I get all the ink off of the embossed portions. And then I'm going to spray it with my Distress sprayer so that I almost get a little bit of like a snow-like effect, leaving that on for just a couple seconds only, and then making sure I just get all the water off. I'm going to peel up that Post-it note, and then we have the moon. I'm going to take some of the Tumbled Glass that's just left on the ink pad here, not the ink pad, the sponge, and just kind of give the moon a little bit of some bluish tint to it so it's not so white. And then I'm going to line up my little woolly reindeer here. So I want to make sure the one that's going to be Rudolph is in the center of the moon. I'm going to adhere him on, and then I'm going to work on adhering the other two little guys. These images are so stinking cute. I love them. Just making sure, using some stamping blocks to make sure that that adheres well to the card, but I do move them so that I can get the spacing right for the two other reindeer that are not in the moon. So there we go, they're on, and then I'm going to work on the background of the card. So this is from the Lawn Fawn Perfectly Plaid paper pad, and I just used a stitched rectangle die from Lawn Fawn to die cut some stitching around the border, and then I've simply used some foam adhesive for the back of this card, and I'm going to adhere that down. What I love about this is that cutting off the 1/4 inch actually puts it perfectly center within the stitched line so that there's an equal border on either side of the stitched line, which I couldn't have planned any better. So I just wanted to do that little bit of red because they do have red collars. Now I'm drawing in the line that's supposed to be like connecting them to the sleigh, which you can't see, but pretend that Santa is behind there. And then I'm using my Spectrum glitter marker on the moon to make it really nice and shiny. And it does move around some of that Tumbled Glass ink, but that's okay. I actually played with it a little bit here just to kind of get it the way I wanted to look. It actually helped blend it a little bit better. So then I'm going to use the Nuvo enamel dot in red berry for the one little reindeer that's going to be Rudolph, and that's the end of my card. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great day, and stay tuned for card number 6 in the series. Bye!